Thanks for checking out the video today. We are getting ready to go into practice. Miami's getting ready to face NC State. Just a little bit of news in case you guys haven't heard. Cameron Harris is out for the season with a knee injury. And then Mark Pope and D. Wiggins are expected to enter the transfer portal. Again, this is news that Manny Diaz brought to the reporters heading into the week. So today's practice, obviously we'll look at some drills. We'll look at Tyler Van Dyke at quarterback. Curious how Jalen Knighton looks. Had that big game, played well against North Carolina in the loss. So basically just Miami's trying to find some answers, trying to find some results after this disappointing 2-4 start. We'll see how today's practice looks. If there's anything in particular that I notice, I'll be sure to point it out to you. Thanks again for watching. So just got out here for period 4. We get to watch periods 4 through 7 like normal. Nice catch by Rambo. Again, just working on some drills, some contested catch drills here. Nice catch by Jacoby. That's one of the things with this drill. They're trying to throw it in a part where it really challenges the receiver on their catch radius stuff. It's a really nice catch by Mike Harley there. All these guys have been having to make adjustments, but that was a nice one by Mike. And I asked Coach Lashley about just if there's a way to get more production from Mike. He was so productive last year. He was getting about twice as many yards per game as he is right now through the 6 games. And he's saying there's been times he's been the primary target. They just haven't been able to connect. Red also mentioned just he's a guy that, you know, they'd like to get going. And I think in particular, just thinking about the NC State game last year, he had that big touchdown to win the game essentially. Also finished with a high productive game, not just that touchdown. So maybe this can spark Mike again to have one of those big games. I think this offense needs Mike in particular to have a big game. I think there's still ability there. I think he has the ability to make plays. Kind of pause a little bit there. That's Coach Hippolyte just instructing this group to really have energy. Not sure if you guys heard that on the clips there.
Gotta be excited for the test. Gotta be excited for the test. You gotta like work. You gotta like grind.
There's Coach Hippolyte again. He's just saying you got to be excited. You got to enjoy the work.
You gotta like teaching. You gotta love the process just as much as you like production. That's a good word, dog. Coach Dub said you gotta like the process as much as
Coach Likens just echoing what Coach Hippolyte's saying. You gotta like the process as much as you like the production. It's good seeing Coach Hippolyte out here with this energy. This is what we saw a lot when he was at Carroll City as a coach. You know, even back when he was a player at Booker T. But just, it's good. I think they need this energy, this positive environment, just to try to get over the hump with a victory here. Obviously, they got a tough one coming up with NC State, who's looked physical on both sides of the ball. Be sure to check out the preview video. I interviewed David Thompson, who covers NC State. So check out that on the channel if you haven't seen that yet. Gives you some insight into what's going on there. And I kind of asked some questions just about the physicality of things, because that's certainly been an issue here. So essentially, what is NC State doing that they're getting that brand of football that I know Miami would like to have, certainly at a more consistent level. So again, just looking at Tyler Van Dyke here. As we go through some passing drills, I do want to skip around and go to the different position groups, show you guys how things are working here. But I know the big talking point with Tyler this week is they like some of the positive things that he showed the last two games, and they want to figure out a way to kind of get him going in the first half, more productive. And I think the coaching staff, and you see 13 here, so this is Peyton Matoka. He's wearing the 13 scout team uniform. It's not Jake Garcia, he's still out. Just want to make sure we make that note in case you see the 13 and wondering if Garcia's coming back. So it seems like Jake, you know, initial diagnosis was he's going to be out through October, so we'll see if he gets out here anytime soon. But in case you guys are wondering kind of what the latest is with Jake. So anyways, kind of going back to Tyler, they feel like there's been positive signs, and coaches also feel like, you know, some of these things that Tyler's going through are some first ACC game, first road start, you know, so maybe it's taken him a little bit of a while to kind of get into the groove of the game And so they're hoping against NC State, you know, this will be his third ACC game, his fourth start overall. He's back at home. You know, they're just hoping they can kind of get a more consistent production out of him, because I think you guys do see some positives, some flashes with the offense. You see him pushing the ball downfield. I think maybe if you haven't seen too much of him or heard much about him, maybe you're a little surprised he's able to run the ball as well as he is. But we have seen that at times in practice and heard teammates. So it's kind of moved to different positions. Nestor J. Silvera just kind of walked by me there, but he's kind of going back out to his drills. So let's kind of just check these guys out over there. So just taking a look at some tackling drills. This is very common. They do this all the time. This is common for most teams too. I think a lot of you are curious why they don't do more hitting. It's just not common for college football teams to do the hitting or the tackling drills that you guys maybe either expect or would hope to see. But this is the biggest thing here is they're really working on their technique, their leverage. They obviously want to get low, and the pads are there, and the red pad there, the big one, you know, is there just to work on finishing the drill, finishing the tackle, and really work on that. So one of the things that stands out to me about NC State and their offense is their running backs go downhill quite a bit. There's not a lot of dancing around the backfield. There's not a lot of negative yardage. I think Miami in this game has got to really work on some group tackles. You know, there's got to be a lot of guys on the ball, and particularly, you know, if one guy has the ball carrier wrapped up, they got to make sure that they get another guy in there to finish it off. I think that's going to be, I know it's key, I know it's something that you think about every single game, but I just kind of watching NC State's backs with Bam Knight and Ricky Person Jr., kind of their style, the way they like to run through tackles. They're not afraid of contact. It actually looks like they embrace it. So certainly a challenge for Miami and their defense in this one. You see a player there doing some push-ups just on a drop pass there, nothing big, just something that they do all the time. Taking a look at the secondary here. You know, one of the things that stands out to me about NC State's offense and how it relates to Miami's secondary is they've got two big receivers going 6'3". These guys are, you know, Carter and Emeka there that can really put pressure on some contested catch type stuff. They've also shown the ability to kind of get downfield a little bit on maybe some 20 to 30 yard, that mid to deep range, where they can kind of create some separation a little bit, but they're really good at making contested catches. And I think this is going to be big for Miami's physical cornerbacks, defensive backs. Tyreek Stevenson, take a look at him. I think this is a big game for Tyreek to make sure he's staying on these guys. I know he likes to be physical, and I think these kind of receivers are matchups that, you know, you would like to see Tyreek do well in. I think DJ Ivey is another guy. I know he struggled at times, but he's another guy that you got to account for in this kind of a game against these matchup. And I think that would be, maybe those are the two guys. You know, Takori's a little bit slighter in weight and strength, and I think maybe you might see Takori on Thayer Thomas there. A little bit smaller of a receiver, but certainly a threat. And taking a look here, and so there's James Williams, number 0. Taking a look at Avante Williams. Coach did mention that Avante has cleared his 6-game suspension and will be eligible to play. I know a lot of people are excited about his abilities. I'd be surprised if he gets a large role in this one, but just based on some of the things we've seen from other guys that haven't played a lot, that doesn't have a lot of experience. But Avante, just a reminder, did not play last season either, so this would be his first game. I think the key for Avante is if he's out there on special teams, has to make a play. If he is out there at safety, although Miami is kind of rotating these 4 guys in quite a bit, with kind of moving Gervin around to a little bit of a cornerback, nickelback role. You know, Cameron Kitchens is also getting plenty of reps, as you know, and Bubba Bolden is certainly the one to watch for. His play has not been up to par, and I think his playing time could suffer because of it. And I think we saw a little bit of that last game. So we'll take a look at Bubba there. Again, just working on some more hitting drills. So we're in practice session number 6. Once again, we're going through 7, taking a look at the running backs here. That's the scout team uniform. You see Jalen right here. Let's take a look at him. You know, I know Jalen's been waiting for a game like that. I know he wished it would have came in a win, but certainly good to see him have some production, get in the end zone, and maybe even more, most importantly, just find a way to make big plays. And I think you saw that in that 60-yard catch for his touchdown, where essentially catches a short pass, splits the defenders, or makes that one cut, gets upfield in a hurry. I think that's the ability that people have liked from Jalen since he was in high school and been waiting to see, frankly. So we'll see if Jalen can carry this over. I think Miami's offense certainly needs playmakers like that. And certainly a lot of attention on Jalen moving forward with Cam Harris out for the year, Don Chaney's out for the year. So it's down to one of these backs that they feel really good about. And I know they liked some of the things that Cody Brown's brought to the table. They certainly trusted him on that touchdown run. So good to see him get a little bit of reps. And then Thad Franklin is that number 3 back behind those two. I expect that to continue. I know that some of you might have liked some of the things he showed against Central Connecticut State, but throughout the whole preseason practices and even during the season, Cody's just been ahead of him. And I think, like I said, I think that will continue. I think kind of when you're thinking about Miami's running game in general, I think there's times that they kind of go away from it early in games. I think it would really help the offense if they kind of established it a little bit more, if they could get it going. I think it might help Tyler Van Dyke out a little bit more instead of putting so much pressure on him to make a lot of plays. And I know it's tough with the running game because if it's getting stopped early, how much do you stick with it? But we'll see. And I will say against watching NC State in their last game against Boston College was able to kind of get some runs going in the first half a little bit. They looked good. So I think there is, even though NC State's defense has been really good this year, I think that there is some yards to be had out there. You know, and I think just because NC State's defense has been good, they've been pretty good against the run this year, obviously. You know, and then a guy like Jalen going against a physical defense, linebackers in that 235, 245 range. I still think Jalen can make plays against this team, so we'll certainly see how that goes. So we've looked at the wide receivers, quarterbacks, a little bit of the running backs, defensive backs, just a little linebacker. So I want to make sure we try to get all positions in. Defensive line right here, at the other end of the field, so it's a little tough to get too close to them. But as you can see, just working on a drill, getting off the ball while using their hands in the right spots. You know, I think it's good that the defensive line, there's been some flashes. You saw last week with Jafari Harvey with the interception, tip pass, made a really good play. I think you've seen Chance Williams make some really good plays and flashes. So if you're looking for positives from this defensive line, you're kind of hoping you can kind of build on those moments. Leonard Taylor once again graded out well according to Pro Football Focus last game. So some guys are showing flashes, and they continue to kind of have this rotation of, you know, it was about 8 defensive linemen early on. It's kind of been 9 and 10. It's been 9 and 10 guys. I think that will continue. I think they like that. And a lot of the guys are kind of in that 20 to 40 snap range. It's by far the most parity in terms of playing time of all of the position units on both sides of the ball. So just a quarterback drill working on getting the ball out of the backfield here. Asked a couple weeks ago if Coach Lashley felt like they could get more production in the passing game from their backs. And I think when you see Jalen make a catch and run like he did last game, it gives you an indication that you'd like to see more of that. And I do think it is in the offense. We see it in drills quite a bit. If you guys have been following these videos throughout fall camp, we've seen them kind of set some short passes up to running backs, and certainly do it to receivers as well. So it's not like it's not something that they're abandoning. I just feel like you'd like to see it a little bit more. I think it could really help out the offense. So this is the final drill here. Is Charleston Rambo coming towards us here. Again, trying to work on getting the ball out to receivers pretty quickly. Just working on, looks about like 5-yard outs right now. Jacoby George. Interesting seeing him where he's at in these reps here. Kind of been that second guy out here, and I do think he'll kind of stick at punt return. I think he showed enough last game, taking advantage of his opportunity. If you guys remember him from high school, he did show that ability as well. Just a final few minutes of this final drill that we're able to be out here for. Taking a look at Corey Couch right here. Again, defensive backs just working on positioning, making sure they're in the right spots.
Good. That's it. He vertified down. I can't do shit, right? I gotta go. Good. I don't know what he's doing. Good. Here we go. Same thing. Watch me. Back. Do 12. There you go. Take yourself on the bender. Good.
Let's take a look at Marcus Clark, 28 there. He's a guy that's gotten a few more reps the last few games. And I know the depth chart isn't necessarily set in stone when they release it. It's not a true indicator, so I don't want to make too much of it. But Marcus was moved up as an or in terms of a starting cornerback. So maybe there's some things on tape that they've liked what they've seen from him. And maybe he's a guy to watch for a young player that they might get in the game even more as he's increased his reps kind of in recent weeks. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Again, just taking a look at the defensive backs across the field here. Guys are still working. We'll see how things pan out, but definitely thanks everybody for watching.